Greetings to all the fathers in this KMI Community Connect. Happy Father's Day. KMI Community Connect wants to take this opportunity and also wants to emphasize that there is no better time than talking about men's health as a part of father's health. We all play different roles, as well as the health that is so important for the man, the father, and the community at large. So today, let's talk and understand more in terms of the individual as well as the family and how it connects to the community and countries at large, and how primal and important is men's health. Because the first thing that comes to mind when you say a father is a man and his health. This is very important. So the man is the support system for the family. We all know, we all have support systems. We all play as a man or a woman different roles supporting each other. So when the first thing that comes to mind when we say father is a support system in a family. So as a child or as a son, a daughter, a wife, a mother, a sister, a grandson, any other relation that we have in the family, we all understand the role of father as a support system. So it's very important for us to talk about the support that we can give with regards to mostly the health, which is the metabolic health, and also psychological health and the environmental health. So let's look at it from three different angles. One is the one system that we have is the, I'm going to put a Venn diagram here, the biological aspect, which is the bio. Then the other aspect that we have is the psychological aspect, psychological aspect, and then the bigger aspect which plays a big role, the epigenetic signals that we get, is the social aspect. So the health of a man depends, like anybody else, including like the woman, on this bio-psycho-social aspects, and the intersection of all this here is the sweet spot. That's the optimal health that everybody thrives for maximal performance and excellence. So it's very important to address and start looking at a man's health or a father's health or a man who's going to become a father from this perspective to understand, because psychological aspect, which is the physiological aspect of the mental health, the biological aspect, which is the brain as well as the human body and the brain in turn, and then which in turn interacts with the social aspects, which gives the epigenetic signals for overall health. So how do we define the man's health? If you see, the definitions are arbitrarily changing. You can say that these, as we are aging longer and having more longevity, and the arbitrary age groups are changing. So we can assume that the young adult is probably starting around 20 years of age all the way up to 39, according to some statistical listings. So if you say the peak that you slowly start getting better and better in your performance as well as the demands in the society is starting somewhere here at 20 years of age, and then it starts peaking up to 39. Now from here it takes off. The highest demands that are put on a man who takes responsibilities both in the society, biologically, psychologically, and socially, the highest demands that he puts himself through, either on himself or from the society where he works or from the family, that peaks at 39 or 40. This is the 40 cutoff when it peaks, and then it goes on and on and on and on and on like that. And nowadays it is stretching all the way up to 70. It used to be up to 60. So this is the time when you have the peak performance and peak demands. So you can perform at your highest, at the same time the demands are highest for him to either excel or take control of it. At the same time, the biological needs, the biological stress from psychological aspect, social aspect, the demands there are maximum demands happening on the human body on a man from 40 to 65. This is the age that shows the biological effects. And then if your foundation is good before from 20 to 39 or even later, that drop that slowly happens, a decline in the function, can even be prolonged, because you see a lot of people even after 70, if this is a 70, are even trying to keep it like that, and the decline is happening much slower. So this is an interesting aspect that we have to keep in remember and act from a support system perspective, both from individual to give the best support for the most demanding things that happen on biologically, psychologically, as well as socially on the father's role. So let's go to from a different angle about what happens. If you look at it from an evolutionary ecological perspective, let's say a father goes out hunting out in the wild, in the nature. He hunts when he's hungry. He doesn't hunt when he's full. He gets food for his family, the wife and the children, when he's out there hunting when he's hungry. So the system, how the biological system is designed is the testosterone that the male, the predominant hormone in the male, even though it's present in the female, the male predominant hormone testosterone is at the highest in the morning when he is hungry, and he sprints behind the animal and gets the food, like almost like if there is no food, he's going to die. It's a survival mechanism. So it's a flight or fright response. He runs behind the animal with the spear, gets the animal, comes home, and then gives it to the family, and then he goes through the next stage, which is the rest and digest, when the mother, the wife, feeds him with that food. So the flight and fight hormone type, the acceleration. So the biggest role that the man does in that case, with that example, is being the provider. So the provider role of the father or the man is very important. That starts with the P, because even the biggest underlying driving force, the evolutionary ecological driving force underneath is that's paternal role. It starts with the P too. The paternal role makes him become the provider for the family, and then once that providership, like the example that I gave, even this day and age, even though we don't hunt, we have the father's role is the provider's role. Then next role is the protective role for the family. So that's the next role, the protection, the protective role for the family. And then the other role is the preservation and maintenance of the family. Everything starts with the P. Now, this is being driven because the paternal drive is always trying to be the leader in the family, and it takes it with the pride. They are very proud of that role to achieve. So when somebody is hungry, in spite of being hungry, trying to provide, that paternal instinct and trying to be the leader is always the driving force. For example, when you're hungry, your ghrelin hormone in the body is at its highest. You're hungry, you're under some stress, but you still are at your best, providing with the testosterone boost that you get. So you're at your best and at your peak, because these are all high energy demanding, energy efficient processes that the biological systems and the nature has designed in the man and in the father. So the energy efficient systems are the brain, the nervous system including the spinal cord, and the hormones. These are the energy demanding, highly energy efficient systems with lots of mitochondria. So if these systems are not run well in nice cycles and rhythms, then all the biological systems collapse, and that is when the most demand happens from 40 to 70. Those things, instead of taking its peak, because this is the time when you can be at your best, even better than when you are in 20s and 30s. If this foundation is good, this is the time when you can be peak, because the demands are the highest. So when the demands are highest, the energy, there is high energy demands, the brain and the hormones the neurotransmissions and the function of the brain, the secreting hormones from the endocrine glands. These are very energy intensive, and for that you need the proper metabolic health. A proper metabolic health is what happens mostly is in our practice, that what we see is men underplay their symptoms. Most of their symptoms are very silent. They also go through a phase from 40s to 50s later, something called andropause, which is just like the men's counterpart kind of condition like menopause for women, where they complain with fatigue. They also complain with lack of energy, and they start gaining weight in the midsection, start losing muscle. All the metabolic problems, including the metabolic conditions like diabetes, heart disease, cancers, everything starts creeping in when the highest demands are happening around that time, because the body is not cooperating with the psychological part, the social part, and also when men underplay their symptoms because of various psychological and social issues. At the same time, even because of misinterpretation, misinformation, not talking about sexual health, not talking about very important conditions that they go through like erectile dysfunction, which is a problem, sexual health, which is a problem which signifies vascular health, because the small blood vessels that affect the penis is an indication that it's already affecting the kidneys, the eyes, and next is the heart and the stroke. This has to be addressed. Men don't volunteer. This has to be addressed properly. At the same time, they also don't address many mental issues which go along with that because of their self-esteem, and they try to underplay their symptoms: depression, anxiety, suicide, drug abuse. A lot of these issues play a big role because of the demands that they have to take in the society, for the family, as well as for themselves. So what about, instead of providing something for the family, for the society, instead of protecting for the family and society, instead of preserving family and society, what about doing all this for themselves? This is where they need support. This is where all the fathers have to start paying attention to their own health with regards to their biological health, psychological health, and social health overall for a better well-being. I wish all the families with the fathers and the fathers at this time for addressing this men's health as a priority for overall general well-being of all our communities. KMI Community Connect is actually going to be talking more about men's health, especially hormonal health and musculoskeletal health, which is very, very important because it's highly energy driven, and we need men and fathers with lots of energy. We talk a lot about bioenergetics, which is the mitochondrial health, and that is the driving force of the world. We are very pleased to congratulate and wish one more time all fathers for all their success and their excellent and efficient work. KMI Community Connect loves to talk more about men's health topics in the future. Thank you.